Hello, and welcome to another BTFO. Today we're going to be talking about Good Boy and Tron Ares. And so because it's spooky month, we'll go ahead and start with our spooky movie, Good Boy, the new 2025 horror film from Shudder that is about a haunting from the dog's perspective. And I wish this movie was good. I don't know what people are saying generally, but I did not like this movie pretty much whatsoever. Luckily it's only like an hour long, so there is a saving grace of they didn't drag it out for too long. But like 10 minutes into the movie, they kind of realized that their premise is not, like, they realized that they couldn't do a whole lot with their premise, which is kind of sad because, like, you could actually, like, if you put in the effort, you could make that a premise that works, but they don't do that. And so instead we're stuck with like, after the first 10 minutes, basically all the dialogue turns into characters expressing, like, what's going on. Like, it's all pretty expositional, where you'll have, like, the owner be like, "Nah, come on, sister. I told the doctor last week when he gave me my diagnosis that, like, you know, this was gonna happen." And it's like, God, like, these people already know these things. Like, why are they speaking like aliens? And it's like, oh, well, because we can't have the dog talk. And it's like, yeah, but, like, come on, like, you know. And even if it is supposed to be from the dog's perspective, then it's like, okay, why not have it be a little more confusing? Like, it is supposed to be from the dog's perspective, right? And like, jumping ahead all the way to the end, the end of the movie is where I think they basically had their premise and their ending, and then just did whatever the hell they could to fill in the, like, gaps in between. Because the end of the movie kind of has a theme where it's like, hey, you know, like, maybe a dog, like, you know, if its owner is gonna die, maybe it has to come to terms with that. And so, like, they go a little bit into that, and it's like, that's neat. Like, that's, you know, that's a neat little premise that you've got there. Shame about the rest of it, though, because most of the movie is, at least to me, it felt like most of the movie was dog nightmares, which was really annoying. It's a horror trope that I feel like I'm seeing pop up more and more, that I'm getting really annoyed by, where it's like, oh, we need something scary to happen. I know, let's have a nightmare where, you know that it's clearly a nightmare, but then, you know, something spooky happens, or something jumps out at the character, and then they wake up and go, oh, 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 and it's like, stop, just stop. Like, you know, it's really annoying to me because it's like, oh, cool, so there's, like, you know, 2 minutes that just wasted time. Like, you know, it's like, I don't care. Like, I don't know, maybe some people do go to, like, horror movies for just the jump scares, right? Which, it's like, come on, like, you know, at this point, fucking Warner Brothers or Universal should just put out a movie called Jump Scare that just, like, periodically jump scares the audience and has no real coherent story to it, and people would fucking love that. But, like, I don't know, it got really annoying in this movie, especially where, like, near the end they start to do, like, oh, it's a dog nightmare inside of a dog nightmare. Are we back in the real world, or is it another nightmare? And it's like, I don't care. Like, you haven't given me enough to really care about any of this. Like, if it's a nightmare, I don't care. And if it's the real world, well, like, sorry, I really don't actually care because you haven't given me anything to like really care about the real world story. So I don't know. It's like there are good ideas in this movie, and I kind of like some of the shots, like especially like dog POV shots. Some of those can be pretty cool. Like there's one with the like reflection in the TV, where you can see the dog's face and then you can see the actor with his reflection in the TV. Like I remember that shot being pretty cool. It's not, you know, it's not going to revolutionize the industry or anything. It's not, you know, like anything super new or anything. But it's like, hey, that's kind of neat. But yeah, I wish that they had taken some of those better ideas and like fleshed them out a lot more rather than just dog nightmare, dog nightmare, dog nightmare. Like, you know. But so yeah, would I recommend Good Boy? No, I would not recommend Good Boy. And then Tron Ares, another film that I would not recommend. To keep it short and simple, I guess. Tron Ares was an extreme mess of a film. It was really surprising to me. Where, I mean, the thing that made me the most curious about it is that if you watch Tron Legacy, and like the whole point of that is, hey, Sam Flynn and Cora, I think it's Cora, but like they stop Clue from taking the programs into the real world. And, you know, and Sam's gonna take over the company. It's like, oh, okay. So now we're making a sequel that doesn't have Cora or Sam Flynn in it. Like, I don't know. That feels like a pretty important, like, element to a sequel. You know? And it's like, oh, but don't you worry. The programs are coming to the real world. It's like, right, so then they should be involved then, right? Like, but, no. The premise of this movie is that, the Dillinger Company from the first Tron, is competing with Encom, and they both want to bring programs into the real world. They want to bring things from the grid into the real world. And so Dillinger Company wants to primarily focus on like military equipment. Which, yeah, like the Tron equipment, you know, it's pretty good, I guess. But it does seem a little weird to like real world market. Hey, here's a tank with bright neon red lights all over it. You know, perfect for your stealth missions. But then, like, Encom, they want to make orange trees. Which it's like, well, hold on, we didn't see anything like that on the grid in Legacy. Like, that doesn't really make sense to, you know, be that. Like, why not bring in, like, I don't know, like Gem or something. Like, be like, oh, hey, here's this, like, really cool assistant lady that can, like, help you out with stuff. That's what we want to bring from the grid. Rather than just being like, no, we can just make infinite food from this. It's like, oh, that's, and they show it on like a tree, and it's like, no, if you can just generate anything, then just generate a box of oranges. Like, why would you need the whole tree? Like, you know, but yeah, so like they say that their reason for why Sam Flynn and Cora is not in the movie is because Sam Flynn, he did run Encom for a while and made it pretty successful, like pretty successful on top of how successful it was. and then he just stepped down for personal reasons. I was like, oh, okay. But don't worry, guys, by the end of the movie, Ares is looking for Sam, Flynn, and Cora. And it's like, why? Nobody wants to see that. Like, Ares is a confused mess of a character. Which, like, we'll go into. But it's like funny to me that the overall premise of this movie is that both sides are looking for the permanence code to because they can generate things from the grid. However, in 29 minutes they dissolve. That, like, for whatever reason, without the permanence code, they just dissolve. And it's like, guys, you can't do that as a sequel to Tron Legacy, where it ends with Cora, an ISO from the grid, coming into the real world and just existing there, unless you're trying to say that, oh yeah, right after that final shot of Legacy, she just fucking disintegrated, and, like, all of Sam Flynn and Kevin Flynn's work, it was all for nothing. All the ISOs died. That, like, actually they should have just kept her in the grid. Like, you know, it's like, no, you can't do that. So it's funny to me that it's like, wow, you made probably, like, the most disrespectful sequel to Tron Legacy that you could. Good job, I guess. So they're trying to get this permanence equation, or permanence code, and so Ares is Dillinger's new. They keep calling him the Master Control, which I find really bizarre, because, like, no, the first Tron film, like, Master Control is Dillinger. Like, Dillinger is controlling Master Control, and then he's got a guy under him. Like, you know, Master Control is not a separate program. Like, they have to go to Master Control in the first Tron movie, because it's not a program. They can't get Master Control to come to them. But, you know, putting that aside, Ares, they, like, bring him into the real world for a presentation, and he feels the rain on his hand, and he's like, wow, feeling a new emotion, like, what a wonderful sensation. And that is enough to get him to go, you know what, I can just disobey my programming and go rogue. And it's like, is it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, that feels really weird, because now we're getting into the point of, like, what made the ISOs so special then. Because, like, I feel like the whole point of Legacy was that the ISOs could think for themselves, and so therefore, like, they were really important. But it seems like Ares doesn't want to address that it's like, no, actually, just all programs at any time can just think for themselves. And it's like, oh, that shouldn't be the case. And it's like, you could have just written it that Ares was an ISO from the Dillinger, like, server. But no, they didn't do that. And so, then they've got Eve Kim, who is in charge of NCOM, and her sister, who, I forget if they say she was also in charge, or if she was just, like, their head developer, but she died looking for the permanence code, and so she's trying to continue her sister's work, and so she finds the permanence code, and then Dillinger's like, oh, I want the permanence code, and so he sends Ares and Athena after Eve Kim, and like, then they, you know, through wrecking cop cars and stuff, which it's like, how Dillinger, how do you think you're gonna get away with this? Like, it's like, who else has like these motorcycles that have like lasers that shoot out of the back? Like, it's like if fucking like Godzilla attacked New York City and they're like, oh, I wonder who could have done this. I mean, Godzilla's sitting right over there, but it could be anyone. It's like, no, it couldn't be anyone. It's obviously that one person. Because they wait until like the end of the movie to have the police go, oh, I think it might be Dillinger that's releasing all of these like Tron people. It's like, no, really? Like, no shit. Like, I wonder, like, has anyone else presented that they could possibly do that? Like, but, yeah, it's like if there was, like, a nuclear man, and, he had the power to cause nuclear explosions, and no one else could do that. And then it's like, oh, Hiroshima just went up in a nuclear explosion. I wonder if that was Nuclear Man. Like, it's like, what the fuck? But they, like, get to Eve, and for some reason, because this is, like, a part of the movie that I feel was almost certainly different in either a, like, different version of the script or different cuts of the film. Because I think they want to imply that Eve is just, like, so beautiful that Ares falls in love with her instantly. But then, like, they also were like, oh, we don't really want to do romance in this one. So, yeah, like, he's, like, he really wants her to be his friend. And, like, they both really want to friend each other. It's like, oh, okay, sure, movie. And but like, so he pauses and hesitates, and then she's like, okay, well, I guess if I can't have the permanence code, no one can. And so she snaps the drive that she has it on in half and then throws it into the ocean. And it's like, I'm sorry, but like, aren't you supposed to be the character who's like, I want this to be better, like, I want to make the world a better place for humanity? Like, yeah, I get it that, like, if Dillinger Corporation has it, that doesn't make you richer. But like, they could also generate orange trees. Like, like, I don't know why we're pretending that, like, no, Dillinger Corporation is only gonna make military weapons. It's like, sorry, but no, if you're just saying that, like, oh yeah, we can just literally generate anything, right? It's like, yeah, that technology is gonna get used for a lot more than just military weapons. Like, that would be really stupid if it got stuck there. But, and then it becomes really awkward too, like, because earlier in the chase, she, like, throws her bike at Artemis, or, Athena, and, like, knocks her down this, like, parking garage structure, and it's like, she didn't know that was a program. So, like, Eve is just okay with killing people. And I was like, oh, that's a little awkward, especially when Eve's gonna continue throughout the film to make a point of, oh, Dillinger was willing to kill me to get the code, because after this she gets trapped in the Dillinger grid, and they're like, oh, we can remove the code from her memory, but for some reason doing that will cause, like, we'll have to erase her to do that. And they're like, oh, okay. Which feels really weird, because it's like, no, guys, hold on. Like, you don't know that would work, so maybe you want to try something where, in case it doesn't work, she's still alive, and you don't have to just go, fuck, well, like, now no one gets the code because she's dead. Like, it's like, I don't know, just maybe, maybe just a thought that you might want to do that, but I guess that's just me. Yeah, it's such a mess. Because then she gets out of the grid with Ares' help, because Ares is like, nah, I'm gonna disobey my orders because I don't like being expendable. And meanwhile, this is, I guess, glossed over. The reason why Dillinger Corporation knows that they have the permanence code is because they sent Ares and his team to hack into the Encom grid, so the grid from Tron Legacy, and then they blew it up. And it's like, oh man, I don't know, it would have been kind of neat to go back there, maybe check in on Zeus or Gem, what happened to Kevin Flynn? Because he was alive in that grid. Did you just kill him? Is that what happened? Don't worry about it. Nah, we're not gonna talk about that. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, but in the writing phase when they said we blow up the grid, that should have been a pause for, no guys, I don't think we can just blow up the grid. Especially when it's supposed to be corporate espionage, and it's like, oh yeah, this is just blatantly saying, yeah, we did it. We fucking blew up your computer system. And then they have to send Ares into the original Tron grid to try and grab the code, because Eve Kim can't recite it off of memory, and so they need to just get the code again. And so he goes in there, and that's the part of the movie where it's yeah, it's kind of neat that they showed off what the 80s grid would look like if it were cool, or if it were done with today's technology. And it's yeah, that's kind of neat. It's a little lame that they keep referencing whoa, the 80s, and for some reason Ares has a love for the 80s and 80s techno bands. And it's he's a program man. Why? I'm sorry, but why did you write it that he likes things? It's I feel like you guys forgot that Tron Ares or Tron Legacy had a difference between programs and ISOs. That the reason why Cora likes Jules Verne and stuff is because she's an ISO who can think for herself. That otherwise it's not, yeah, the programs do have thoughts of their own, but it's not oh yeah, I really love the outside world and stuff. It's no. But yeah, and then inside of that, Ares meets Kevin Flynn, but it's not Kevin Flynn, it's a AI program of Kevin Flynn, which it's oh, why? And why is he old? Is it because you guys got criticism from Legacy that the CGI face for Clue didn't look great? Which it's don't get me wrong, it doesn't look all that great. I think it's passable on Clue. I think it's the beginning of the movie where it looks really weird when it's supposed to be real life Jeff Bridges. But it does feel a little weird that it's oh, so this is supposed to be an AI likeness of him. It's basically another Clue, but for some reason it's old. And it's unless they're trying to say that, no, actually there is just no removing Kevin Flynn from the system anymore. He has become a part of it. If that's what they're trying to say, then it's oh god, I don't think you're ready for that. But yeah, and then in the real world, meantime, Dillinger appoints Artemis or Athena. I'm gonna keep mixing those up. I'm pretty sure it's Athena. But he promotes her to Master Control. And then she's like, okay, well, you said to get Eve Kim at any means necessary, so I'm gonna kill your mom, because she's gonna take you off of the board. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, no, he's still gonna get off of the board. Not to mention that him being on the board or off of the board doesn't actually affect how well you can get Eve Kim. But, and then, like, she tells the mom, she's like, oh, like, I've died 1,000 times for the grid. Be grateful that you only have to die once. And it's like, guys, you're not ready to, like, have a meaningful conversation about, oh, you know, is Athena the man in the box or the man in the prestige? Like, you know, it's like, no, guys, you're not ready for that conversation. Like, you can't just dump that in the third act. Like, but then they, like, just briefly go over that, and they only have Athena only comes back the one time, even though they make a big deal out of, like, oh yeah, if my time runs out, I'll just keep coming back. And so it means that the entirety of, like, the third act takes place within an hour. And it's like, man, I mean, I guess I'm not gonna say that it's impossible. It's just like, holy fuck, how fast do they have to be traveling to, like, get from one part of the city to the other part of the city over and over? Like, you know, it's like, I don't know, because I think about, like, Salt Lake, right? It's not that big of a city, but, like, if I'm driving in my car, and now, like, that is, you know, there is traffic, but, like, it takes, you know, at least 15 minutes to get from, like, one side of central Salt Lake City to the other. So it's like, I don't know, man, it feels like you should have had her regenerate a couple more times, and you could have used that for tension. Like, you know, you could have had Eve and Ares, like, defeat one of her by being like, okay, well, like, your time's up, and then she disintegrates, and just immediately there's another one ready to take her place. Like, you know, you could have done something like that. And it's also a little weird where it's like, oh, can we not create copies? Like, you know, could you not have 2 Athenas running around? Could you not have a dozen Athenas running around? Like, yeah, we're not going to address that, actually. It's like, we just don't think about it that much. And it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, and then they get the permanence code, and then they nuke the Dillinger server. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So we started with, there's the 80s grid, there's the legacy grid, and then there's the Ares grid. Now the legacy grid and the Ares grid have both been nuked. Like, they don't exist anymore. It's like, oh, great. I love that decision. That was definitely the correct decision. But then it's like, oh, Dillinger doesn't want to go to jail, so he transports himself into his server that's just been nuked. And, like, I guess luckily the place that he gets transported in hasn't been that damaged. And then in the post-credit scene, he, like, grabs a disc, and it starts to give him the costume of, like, the right-hand man of Master Control in the first Tron. And I was like, oh, okay, I can't wait for that to go nowhere. And then, yeah, Ares decides, now that he has permanence, he's gonna spend the rest of his life, because it is impermanence, that, like, yeah, the permanence code means that things can exist from the grid in the real world, but they will still age and die, which it's like, oh, So you mean the exact same spot that we were in after Legacy? Like the exact same thing that Legacy said could happen? Cause like, you know, it's just funny where they're trying to say that like, oh yeah, the permanence code. Kevin Flynn wrote that when he made the first Tron. And it's like, no, he didn't. Because if he knew about that in Legacy, it's like, dude, just let Clue go to the other side. Like, you know, like, yeah, it'll suck for all of 29 minutes, but then Clue's just gone forever. The end. Like, we win. Like, you know? And also, it's like, oh, he probably should have, like, you know, told Sam about Cora and been like, hey, yeah, don't take Cora with you, by the way. Or like, hey, in the next 20 minutes, once you get out there, you need to transfer Cora, like, back in here, okay? So, you know, just use that 20 minutes well and then send her back, okay? But yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's all a mess, and it's not very good. I really hate Eve Kim, because the movie just keeps insisting that, like, oh yeah, you really like Eve Kim. And it's like, no, I don't know who this person is. Like, and it's like, oh, you really like Breakfast Burrito Man, right? Because he likes breakfast burritos. And I was like, I don't know who this is. Like, you know, could you give me some character backstory? And then in the third act, they introduce another guy and another girl that both work for Encom, and they're like, yeah, you really like these characters. And it's like, I don't know who these are. Like, stop telling me that I like characters when I don't know who they are. And so yeah, it's really annoying. And like, Ares himself, they keep going back and forth throughout the movie on, is he Robot Man or does he have free will? And it's like, yeah, that's something that the movie is just not interested in going into. And like, they have him say throughout the film, he quotes Mary Shelley's Frankenstein a couple times, the quote of I am fearless and therefore powerful. But like, there's no payoff for that. It's not like at the end of the movie he tells Athena that, like, I'm not scared anymore. Like, I'm not scared of being deleted. Because it's like, you could have had that in there, right? You could have had him, like, talk about how, like, oh yeah, actually it's impermanence. And, like, once I die now, like, I'm gone forever. And she's like, aren't you afraid of, like, dying forever? And then he can be like, no, I'm fearless, therefore powerful, and, like, beat her ass. But no. They didn't want to do that either. And so it's like, oh. So for some reason there's just a Frankenstein quote in there. Because I guess I like Frankenstein. I was like, yeah, I mean, I like it too, but that quote shouldn't be in there. I don't know why you had Ares relate to the creature from the book. Like, that's a bad move. You know, if you read the whole book going, you know, I really like the creature. It's like, no, the creature's a bad person. Like, but, yeah, that's just, it's a waste of time. And I do find it really funny that, like, I don't know, if you wanted to watch the first Tron film, I guess that's fine. I don't think it's that good of a film. Like, it's really not all that well constructed. And it's just kind of boring all throughout. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know if I'd describe it as a waste of time, but it's just like, you could do something else. And so I find it funny that this is a franchise that has, you know, 3 movies and 1 season of a TV show. And I'd say that there's probably just 1 movie that's worthwhile, and that's the second movie. That, like, other than that, you really don't have to watch anything else. But yeah, so in conclusion, don't watch either of these movies. I don't know. I really wish there was a more positive note to end on. I guess the Smashing Machine, that was all right. I don't know much about wrestling, so maybe it's horribly inaccurate. Maybe it's accurate as hell. I don't know. It was an okay movie. It was fairly entertaining throughout. Go watch that, I guess. All right. Thank you. Bye.